In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
How will I ever do this on my own?
she thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is Rosa and I'm here today with Mallory. Mallory makes wreaths and they are outstanding. Would you like to tell us about your business?
I would love to. My business is Our Lady of Wreaths. I started it in the summer. I don't remember exactly the month, but the summer of 2020 during the height of the pandemic, but we've been setting records lately, so but during the initial height of the pandemic, I am in healthcare and I needed something to sort of take my mind off of real life. I made my first wreath in 2015 when we moved into our current house, and I really liked it.
It was for your house, your new house.
It was just for me. Yes.
Yeah.
It was just for us. I thought, I've never made a wreath, but we need a wreath for our door. So I made it, and I thought it was kind of fun. So I'd made a few more for us.
What were you using for that at the time?
I used grapevine base, and then, let's see, it had all sorts of things. It had some apples and pears.
Fruity.
Yeah, it had some fruit. It had sort of like a late summer, early fall vibe.
Because you were moving at that time.
Yes, so it was like, we moved into the house in July, and then I probably made it once we settled. So back in 2020, I was kind of getting the itch to make another wreath, but I was like, we don't need another wreath.
Yeah.
But my coworker, who's also a speech pathologist like me, she had just bought a house.
Oh, okay.
And I said, would you like a wreath for your door? And she said, yeah, sure. So it was like a housewarming gift.
Yeah.
I had sent a picture of that to my friend who lives in Seattle.
And just so you know, this is not me breathing heavy. She's got her nice big dog in here, and he's being very sweet and gentle, but you may hear some heavy breathing. It's not me panting over here over her beautiful wreath, like, oh my gosh, I've got to have one. But please continue your story.
So I sent a picture of it to my friend in Seattle, and she had just bought a house, and she said, I love that. Will you make me one? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I had designed that wreath myself. I had just went to the store and found some things that I liked, and so it had a white welcome on it, and then a whole lot of succulents and some other neat things. And then my friend was like, why don't you sell these? And so that's kind of how it got started.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, and you started doing, you did classes too, right?
Yes.
That's how I saw you online initially.
Yeah.
Was you offering Christmas wreath making classes? Because that's when people who, even when you don't care about wreaths the rest of the year, I think most people want a Christmas wreath,
for
probably
sure.
because you're going to have people over.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know, there's just something about decorating for Christmas. We don't decorate a whole lot for other holidays or other times of the year, but we kind of go all out for Christmas. I actually started, my first wreath making class I did was at a place called The Cottage at the Walnut Grove Nursery, which is like maybe 5 minutes.
Don't they
from the
also
house.
like make like cutting boards and stuff?
They offer a lot of different craft classes. But I stopped in one day and I said, would you be interested in hosting a wreath class? And she jumped on it. So we did a few fall wreath classes.
Oh, okay.
And then, fast forward a few months, and I had a message in my Instagram,
Inbox.
Yeah, in the inbox and the, requested messages or whatever. And 90% of the time it's somebody who's like, do you want to grow your Instagram following? Pay us this much money and we'll give you this many followers.
Yeah.
And then the other 8% of the time it's someone saying, do you want a sugar daddy?
Exactly. I get those too.
And then the other 2%, it's somebody who I don't follow back who's responded to one of my stories.
Yeah.
But it was actually somebody from Maker's Mark. And she said, we're really interested in hosting some, kind of wreath and sip classes. Would you be interested? And I was like, of course I'd be interested. You're Maker's Mark. And I said, I'm going to have to check with my husband. He's in medical school. He's doing his rotations. So it's really going to depend on scheduling.
Yeah.
And she said, I totally understand. We want to work with you. We want it to be you. So we're going to work with you as much as possible. So we made it happen. We had 2 days of classes, 2 classes per day.
I really wanted to go. I'm sorry it didn't work out.
No.
They're so beautiful.
Well,
you've got these little bottles, I guess not really shot glass size,
Probably,
a little bit bigger,
uh-huh.
little mini Maker's Mark bottles that you incorporate in the wreath under the bow. And then you've got like little hanging bells on the top of the wreath. It's so pretty. It's almost like a harp made of bells or something.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's very unique, I feel like.
I really liked the bells. And it's funny, like, I think I got that message on a Monday. On a Wednesday, I got another request from a brewery here in Louisville.
Yeah, Highwire?
Yeah, Highwire Brewery. And they wanted me to do a wreath making class there too. So it was, the timing of it all was really strange. But
yeah, because you hadn't talked to them earlier in the year about it. It was just kind of last minute.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even last minute. It was just, 2 days separated.
Apart from each other.
Yeah. So
I wonder if they had a meeting somewhere and they were like, "What's on trend for this year?"
Right. So the person who contacted me for Maker's Mark is from London, and she moved to the state. She worked for Maker's Mark in London, and then moved to Kentucky. Like, if she had been scheduled to move a week later, she wouldn't have made it because that was right when everything started to shut down.
You mean London, England, or London, Kentucky?
London, England.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And apparently these, those sort of craft classes are fairly popular over there. So that's how she got the idea.
Yeah.
So the plan is we're going to do something for spring, like something for each season. So
that's at Maker's Mark? How exciting. So I guess you'll have a spring Easter one type thing?
I don't know. She was actually thinking about like a wreath. What's the word? Like
a crown?
Crown, thank you. Yeah. Yes. So I need to kind of get in touch with her and see what she's thinking.
Does the activity involve like a maypole?
That's a great question.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah. That's about it in a nutshell, I guess.
It just really took on a life of its own. So you've been doing it for a year and a half now.
Yeah. Yep. I've been doing it for a year and a half. I started out just like on Facebook, and then I was like, okay, I need an Instagram. And then
you started making some reels or TikToks or something?
Yes.
To promote your products and show tips on making things?
Yes. I have some that are just like silly and me acting a fool, and then I have others where it's, shows me making them or giving tips. I started a TikTok account a few months ago, and I've had a couple that went bonkers. I had one.
You're doing really good.
I know.
You've done a really good job making them.
Thank you. Somebody who knew me 5 years ago would never have, I have a friend who says, like, every time I'm scrolling and I see one of your videos, I can't believe it's you. So, I don't know, it's fun.
Isn't it neat? It's like you find a new skill, and then it's like this side of you that was waiting to come out gets a chance to, because you're busy doing your day-to-day job as a speech therapist, being a mom, because you got 3 kids, right?
3 kids.
Yeah. And a furry
kid. And a furry kid.
He's a sweet kid.
He is
a sweet puppy. Yes. He's looking at me like, why are you not petting him more?
That's exactly right.
So, well, thanks for sharing that part of your story with us. So, as you've evolved into this being a business, what advice would you have for someone who wants to start their own business that you wish you had known before?
Well, the first thing I would say is, if it's something that you really enjoy doing that, nourishes some part of your soul or your life, and helps you be a better you, a better mom, a better wife, a better employee, whatever it is, you should totally do it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think that's probably the most important one is, looking back at some of the first wreaths I made. Can you please sit down? Thank you. Looking back at some of the first wreaths I made, I'm like, whew, they weren't the best,
Aww.
But, just do it. Just do it. And something else I've learned is that, like, the wreath making community is really wonderful and welcoming, and we all support each other. Because there's I don't think it matters what business you're in. There's plenty of people who are going to want what you have to offer, and you don't have to, try and, you don't have to compete with people, because, like, I have a style of wreaths that I do, a style of door hangers that I do. And
like, you don't do those ribbon wreath things.
I've made a couple of them, but, like, I have a friend here in town. Her ribbon wreaths are just, like, gorgeous. Her bows are, like, she's just the best. And so I'll refer people to her. I'll say, I would happily try, but I have somebody who's really, really good. So if you want to talk to her, please do.
Yeah. And be mutually supportive like that.
Yeah, for sure. So there's more than enough business to go around, especially when you're first starting out and you're, like, you still have another job and you've got your family and, like, you don't have time to, it's just not feasible to do
everything.
Do it full time,
right?
And so you have to kind of pick and choose.
As one of the Instagrammers I watch, it's Modern Millie. She says, "Follow your joy."
I love that.
Yeah, because it's like you enjoy making the kind of wreaths that you make, and you do them to the best of your ability, and you're constantly trying new things and tweaking them. But if somebody else, has a skill in a different area, you can support them, and I love that attitude. And I was listening to something about podcasting because, this is very, very new for me too, really. And, they were saying a lot of people get intimidated because they're like, oh, there's so many podcasts about my topic. Why would anybody ever want to listen to me? And why should it be out there? And they said, if there are a lot of podcasts on the topic that you are wanting to talk about, then that means that there is a demand, and that just validates the fact that a lot of people are interested in the same thing that you are.
Very true.
But nobody has the same perspective as you.
Right.
And I think one cool thing about this podcast is getting to meet people like you who there's not another Mallory like you.
Right.
And like, we have a lot in common. We both take care of stroke patients, and we both work in Louisville, but we never met.
Yeah, and we don't live that far from each other either.
Yeah, we're like practically neighbors.
Yeah.
But we never would have met except for these wreaths and this podcast. So I'm really thankful it worked out.
So, me too.
So besides Maker's Mark, are there any other classes you think you're going to be teaching?
I expect to do more at Highwire. But I've got a humongous backlog of orders from a TikTok that went, that went viral.
Oh, which one is that?
It's one of the ones that's pinned. It's like
Okay.
the one that has...
Which wreath is it?
It's one of my door hangers with the interchangeable flower pieces.
Oh, yes.
So those are like the most work and take the most time, and of course, but that's, I mean, it's great.
Are there like 12 pieces or 12 interchangeable?
There are 4. So
Okay.
it comes with 4. I can, if you want more, I can make more.
So when they buy the door hanger, that it comes with 4 though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it
and how
comes
much
with
are
4.
those?
So I just started my website,
Oh.
OurLadyOfWreaths.com, and
Okay.
so I adjusted the price a little bit on that, especially because it went crazy and I had all these orders, and I was like, well, there's a pretty good demand. So
And you need supplies.
and I need supplies. So, and I actually started, instead of using vinyl stickers basically for the design, I just use the sticker as a stencil now. So it's a little bit more labor intensive, but it's going to be more durable.
Oh, okay.
I
Were you using a Cricut for it? Okay.
Yeah, so I still use the Cricut to cut out the design, but instead of the sticker, it's just a stencil. So for an 18-inch door hanger that comes with 4 interchangeable floral swags, and you get to make the design of your choice. You get to choose the stain. You can choose what you want on the swags if you want. It's $125. That includes shipping. You know, obviously, if you're here in Louisville, we can arrange to pick up, and then you would get a little discount for, you know, me not having to box it up and ship it to you.
Right.
You can buy the swags later. So, like, I had somebody who I used to work with, actually. She ordered 2 signs as Christmas gifts, and she said, I really want one, but it's just, like, not in my budget right now. And I said, well, I can make you a sign and, like, 1 swag, and then you can buy more swags later. And she was like, really? And I said, well, yeah, sure. So, you know, I can be pretty flexible.
Yeah, I love that, especially because, like, it's so customizable.
Yes.
And it's so nice to have, like, your own message on one. Like, my neighbor made me one, and it says, yay, you're here. And if you know me, that was just perfect. Because I just love having people over. But you can't just, like, get a custom-made wreath at Hobby Lobby or something like that. You can get the stuff to start with.
Yeah.
But, like, one time I thought I had several different places charcuterie, and I wanted to have a charcuterie for my family for holiday. What was it? Thanksgiving or something? I can't remember. And I was like, oh, it'll probably be cheaper if I just do it myself, because a lot of the times you think, oh, it'll be cheaper if I do it myself, but I was not considering how expensive all the different ingredients are. And so if you're buying in bulk or you know the prices of things to work with for, like, specialty meats and cheeses, then you have a business and you can, like, make an affordable box. I spent way more making my own. That was nowhere near as nice as something I could have gotten from, like, Board and You or something like that. And so I think that applies here as well, as, like, you could try to make your own at the store or whatever, but the detail that you're able to do, since you are doing so many of them and customizing the messages and all that, I think it's very valuable. So
Yeah, well, thanks.
yeah, and your wreaths are outstanding. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
So I'll be posting links and tagging her and the Our Lady of Wreaths page on my Facebook, which is the Lou Review, and at Lou Food Reviews on TikTok and Instagram now. So hope you'll follow along, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right, bye.